Uh, Good evening, students. Today I'll share my screen. Yeah. In this session, the main agenda that is we have to launch the Windows Server using EC2 service, using the EC2 service. That is the main agenda today's session. We are launching the Amazon EC2 server. We are launching the Amazon EC2 server. Right. Wait. We are launching the Amazon EC2 service. In the yesterday session, we are discussed about how we are creating AWS free tier account and also how we had to launch the Linux server. In the last session, we are discussed. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss about how we had to launch the Windows server using EC2 service, using the EC2 service. Okay. For this, I had to open my AWS account. You have to click on the link aws.amazon.com. Click on sign in the console. Sign in the console. You have to give the credential, username and the password. I have to enter the password, sign in. Then my AWS is open. My AWS account is open. Here, those many services are providing. Here, those are the availability reasons in my AWS account. Those are AWS availability reasons we are showing. You may choose the region North Virginia. On the North Virginia region also, that is it is providing the services. It is providing the services. That is those services are providing. Those services are providing. I am chosen nearby the region I am chosen. I am chosen as the region is Mumbai region I am chosen. Mumbai region I am chosen. Whatever the frequently used services, they are appeared here on the screen. That's we have observed that recently visited services, they are appeared on this screen. They are appeared on this scene. So, dear students, anyone wants to join with me to talk with the previous session? I'll unmute you. I'll unmute you. Any students? Any students? Any students? Raise your hands. I'll unmute your mic. No students. Raise your hand.
Okay, dear
Okay.
student, thank you as hands, ma. Sir is asking.
Any students raise your hand? I'll unmute your mic. Okay. Okay. That is in the yesterday session, we are launching the Linux server. We are launching the Linux server using EC2 service, using the EC2 service. For that, in the services, we had to click on the compute service. Under that, the EC2, we had to choose it. EC2, we had to choose it. Now, here to launch your Linux server, quickly I have to explain. Instances, we have to choose it. Instances. Before that, we have to check the EC2 dashboard. How many instances are running? 0. How many instances are there? 0. Keep it 0. Security groups 1, that is the default security group. Now I am launching the Linux server. Click on the instances. You have to click on launch instances. Launch instances. You have to give the instance name. That's I am given Linux server. You have to give any name. Linux server CSC I am given. You have to choose the OS images. Amazon mission image, we have to choose it. I am choosing the Amazon mission images. This one I am choosing. Amazon Linux. Amazon Linux I am choosing. This is here we have to choose the free tier eligible one. free tier eligible one. You can click on that. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. You have to choose the free tier. 64-bit. The instant type, that is I am chosen T2.micro, that is 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM is provided. Now to create a new key pair, we can click on create new key pair. Click on create new key pair. You have to give the key pair name Linux server CSV key. This I am given. I had to download in the PEM file format. Click on create key pair. Click on create key pair. So in the network settings, whatever the default VPC as it is I am taken, just for understanding purpose, the security group name I am given as Linux server security group I am given. This is I am given the name. The same I have copied here also in the description. The storage for the port we are using, SSH port we are using, port range is 22, source type anywhere we are using. We are using the Linux server. That's why we have to enable the port is SSH, we have to enabling it. And the next step, we have to choose the 8 GB storage. We have to choose the 8 GB storage. I am not adding any additional volume. So here in the right side, it is providing the summary of this instance. Summary of this instance it is providing. And then you can click on launch instance. Launch instance. Your Linux server is launched. You can check it. The instance state is pending. Instant state is pending. Instant state is pending. Right? Just refresh it. Depends on the internet speed. It is connecting. You can refresh it. Wait for few minutes. Already I shared my Google Drive link also. That is how we have to launch the Linux server. On the PPTs, I clearly explain the step by step, right? The instance state is running. We can click on this instance. The bottom, it is showing the details, security, networking, storage, status check, and the monitoring. Now I want to connect this Linux server, So in yesterday's session, I am given the login as the name I am given EC2-user I am given. How I am given that name? We can click on the instance, connect. See here, what is the username? What is the username? EC2-user. EC2-user. That's why I have to enter EC2-user. EC2-user. Now I am connecting this one. So to connect this Linux server, you need one terminal is required. It may be the putty or it may be the git bash. Putty or the git bash. I am using the putty software. Already in my system, the putty software is there. Before to connect the Linux server, you need to convert the PEM file format to PPK format. PPK format. So in the downloads, the Linux server PEM file is only there. PEM file is only there, not the PPK file format. Now to connect the Linux server, you need the PPK file format. You need the PPK file format. Now I can convert that PEM file format to PPK format using Putty Zen software. That load. So where my PEM file is there in downloads option. See here, I am selecting. Click on open. Click on OK. We can save this as private key. Click on yes. You have to give the name. Linux server. CSC key I am given. CSC key I am given. The .ppk format. You can save this one. You have to close this one. You can check it. The ppk file is generated. How we had to convert the PEM file format to .ppk format? By using Putty Zen. Now I am using the Putty software. We can open it. I had to copy the public IPv4 of my instance. What is the public IPv4 of my instance? This one. We have to copy it and paste it here. Host name or IP address. You paste it. Now you can choose on the left side of this one, SSH, we have to choose it. Under the SSH, we have to choose authenticate. Authenticate. You have to browse your PPK file. Click on browse option, choose the PPK file format. We can select the Linux server CSC key, click on open, click on open, accept it. Here you have to give the username is EC2 hyphen user. See that my Amazon Linux server is connected. My Amazon Linux server is connected. If you want to doubt, you can copy this one and paste it in the notepad. And paste it in the notepad. Paste it in the notepad. And here the instance public private IP address. This is the instance private IP address. You have to copy here. Copy here. Now you have to check it. 172.31.2.199. This is the private IP of this instance. You see that these two are same. These two are same. That is, I am launching the Linux server using EC2 service, using the EC2 service. Now, if you want to practice the commands, you have to know the list of commands. Then we have to type the ls command. To create the files, you have to use the touch command. That is for creating the empty file. You can create the file using cat command. You can create the file using editor, using the vi editor, vim editor, gedit editor. You can practice the commands in the Linux server. You can practice the commands on the Linux server. So to exit that, we have to type it the exit. You have to type it on the exit. Now to terminate or to stop the instant, we have to select the instant. We have to select the instant, choose the instant state, choose the instant state. Here we can select the option. If you want to stop the instant, we can choose stop the instant. If you want to terminate that instant permanently, you have to choose it, terminate the instant. Terminate the instant and click on terminate. Click on terminate. Your instance will be terminated. Those are the steps we have to follow. We have to follow to launch the Linux server. To launch the Linux server. Now, what is the agenda today? You are launching the Windows server using EC2. You are launching the Windows server using EC2. For that, what are the steps we have to follow? What are the steps we have to follow? That is the same on services. We have to use the compute under EC2. We have to choose it. EC2, we have to choose it. Here we can select the instances. We can select the instances. Click on that. Here we have to choose whatever the same steps. We have to choose the region first. I am choosing the Mumbai region. We have to choose the EC2 service. Under that, we have to select the instances. Here, you can click on launch instances. Click on launch instances. We have to give the instance name or the mission name we have to give it. I am given the mission name is Windows, Windows Server CSC. I am given the name. Windows Server CSC I am given. Here, what is the next step to launch the Linux server? You are chosen the second step is Amazon mission image you are chosen. To launch the Linux server, you are chosen Amazon Linux mission you are chosen. Now you are launching the Windows server. That's why you have to choose the Amazon mission image is the Windows. Windows. You have to select this one. You have to select this one, Windows server. And then, and then we can click on this. Here it is showing free tier eligible one. Some of them are paid services are showing. Some of them are paid services are showing. See that. Here I am chosen the free tier eligible one, that is Microsoft Windows Server 2022 base. For this server, the AMI ID, Amazon Mission Image, the ID is this one. Amazon Mission Image, the ID is this one. I am selecting the free tier eligible one. Free tier eligible one, 64-bit. What is the next step? What is the next step? After choosing the Amazon Mission Image, what is the next step? You need to choose the instance type. You need to choose the instant type. So for practicing purpose, we have to choose the instant type is t2.micro. We have to choose it. t2.micro. We have to choose it. That is, it is providing 1 CPU and 1 GB memory is providing. 1 CPU and 1 GB memory is providing. If you want to increase as per your business requirement, we can choose the other instances also. We can choose the other instances. That is, if we are chosen T2 dot extra large, it is providing 4 CPUs is providing, 16 GB memory is providing. If we are chosen T2 dot extra large, the instance type. So in the Mumbai region, how many instance types are there? 370 instance types are there. So here, for practicing purpose, we had to choose the free tier eligible one, that is T2 dot micro. It is providing 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM is providing. 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM is providing. Right. I am chosen the instance type T2 dot micro. T2 dot micro. Then what is the next step? What is the next step? We can create the key pair. We can create the key pair. That is, I had to click on create key pair, create a new key pair. That is, I am given the key pair name. I am given the key pair name Windows Server key I am given. Windows Server key I am given. Click on create key pair. Click on create key pair. And then what is the next step? Network settings. Here we have to choose the edit option. Whatever the default virtual private cloud is there, that default virtual private cloud, we have to choose it. In upcoming session, you are creating the virtual private cloud. On that virtual private cloud, you are launching your mission. You are launching your Linux server. You are launching your Windows server. Right? Now, for practicing, you can choose the default VPC. Default VPC. VPC stands for virtual private cloud. Whatever the default one, those default one, we can choose it. There is no subnet preference. There is no subnet preference. Up to now, I am not given. And then I am given for identification purpose. Identification purpose. I am given the name is Windows Server CSC SG. I am given. SG I am given. The same thing I have copy and paste it in the description. Copy and paste it in the description. Yes. The next step is security group rule. Security group rule. To launch the Linux server, to launch the Linux server, the type we are using, SSH we are using, port range is 22 you are using. Port range is 22. Now you are launching the Windows server. We have to choose the type is RDP type. We have to choose it. Remote desktop file, remote desktop protocol. The type we have to choose it. Type we have to choose it. RDP. RDP. The port range for Windows 3389. 3389. Source type anywhere I am using. Source type anywhere I am using. To launch your Linux server, what is the storage? It is providing the default. 8 GB is providing the default. 8 GB storage is providing the default. Now, you are chosen the Windows server. You are chosen the Windows server. So 30 GB space is providing. Configure storage. Default is 30 GB is providing. Default is 30 GB is providing. I am not providing any advanced details. So in the right side, we will see that whatever you are done, the procedure, all the details which are showing, all the details which are showing here, in the right side, in the right side, that is T2 dot micro you are chosen, 30 GB, right? On the network security, that is a summary is showing, how many instances, one instance you are launching. Click on the launch instance. Click on the launch instance. See that the instance is launched or not. To launch the Windows server, now the status is pending. To connect that Windows server in Mumbai region data center, it's taking the time approximately 1 or 2 minutes time is taken. 1 or 2 minutes time is taken. Before that, you'll see that, you'll see this one. What are the steps I am providing? Those are the steps I am providing. That is the first step to launch your Windows server. That is, we have to select the region. That is, we have to select the Mumbai region. That the nearby your place. That's why we have to choose the Mumbai region. The second step, we can select the EC2 service. Where the EC2 service is there? In compute, in compute service, right? Under the compute, we can choose the EC2 service. We can choose the EC2 service. On left side, we have to choose the instances option, and then we can click on launch instances. Launch instances. We have to give the instance name. That is, I am given the instant name is Windows Server CSC. I am given. Then the next step, we have to choose the Amazon mission image. Which mission image we have chosen? Which operating system image we have chosen? Windows Server. Windows Server. Then what is the next step? We have to choose the instant type. The instant type is the free tier we are chosen. That is the T2.micro. And then what is the next step? We can click on create key pair. Click on create new key pair. I am given the key pair name Windows Server CSC key I am given. Then what is the next step? What is the next step? The next step is we have to enter the key pair name, key pair name, key pair name, right? Here we can allow the traffic as RDP. Source type is anywhere. We can select the configure storage. 30 GB is providing. 30 GB is providing. And then you can click on the launch instances. We can click on the launch instances. Launch instances, right? Now we'll see that. We'll see that. What is that? Okay. Now you see that my machine is connected. My Linux server is connected. No, sorry, my Windows server is connecting. My Windows server is connecting. Now, what is the instance state? What is the instance status? Running. The instance status is running. If I am selecting the instance, the Windows Server instance, that is at the bottom, it is showing the details are showing. It is showing the details. That is the instance ID, public IPv4 of this Windows Server, private IPv4 of this Windows Server, and instance status, it is running or it is in pending. That is, at the bottom of this, it is showing the details, security, networking, storage, status check, monitoring, and the tags. Those details are providing at the bottom. At the bottom. However, we'll see that we'll see this. We'll see this here also. The Windows Server for this instance, this is the instant ID. The instance status is running. Here also it is showing. What is the instant type we are chosen? T2.micro. T2.micro. Status check after the few minutes, it is showing 2 by 2. I'll tell you in upcoming session why 2 by 2 is showing. I'm not setting any alarms. That's why no alarms. No alarms. The availability zone in the Mumbai region, AP South 1A is chosen. AP South 1A is chosen. And the public IPv4 DNS is this one. Public IPv4, this is. I'm not using elastic IP. I'm not using any monitoring tool. The security group I am given in network settings. What is the name I am given? Windows Server CSC security group I am given. I am given the name for the key pair. For the key pair, Windows Server key I am given. Windows Server key I am given. Windows Server key I am given. And then at the last launch time is also it is mentioned. Launching time is also it is mentioned. Now I am connecting Windows Server. Windows Server. Before we can select the instance, we can select the instance, go for connect option. Go for connect option. Here you are launching the Windows Server. We can select the RDP client. We can select the RDP client. We can select the RDP client. Now, to launch the Windows Server in your laptop, in the advanced operating systems, it is providing remote desktop file option is there. Remote desktop file option is there. If in your laptop, in your operating system, is not the remote desktop file, we can download this one. Download the remote desktop file. Download the remote desktop file. And we have to copy public DNS. Public DNS. I have to copy this one. Public DNS. Public DNS. And also, I had to copy the username. I had to copy the username. And also, I need the password. How I get the password? Click on get password. Click on get password. We have to upload the private key that is downloads Windows Server key is there. Click on open. Now, here we can decrypt the password. We can decrypt the password. We are getting the password. We are getting the password. We can copy this one. We can copy this one. You have to paste it here. You have to paste it here. This is the password. This is the password to launch the Windows Server. To launch the Windows Server. Now, you are not using any terminal in your laptop. In your laptop, remote desktop file is there. Remote desktop connection is there. Remote desktop connection is there. If in your laptop there is no remote desktop connection, we can download the remote desktop file. We can download the remote desktop file. In my laptop, remote desktop file is there. I can click on this one. I can click on this one. I had to enter the computer name. Computer name. Then we had to enter this one. We have to enter the public DNS. We have to enter public DNS. We have to enter, and then click on connect. Click on connect. It is asking the username. What is the username? Administrator is the username. Administrator is the username. We can paste it, and then we have to enter the password. Password. We can copy it and paste it here. Copy it and paste it here. Click on OK. Click on yes. See that you are launching your Windows Server in your laptop, in your system, in your system. Wait, wait. What are the steps we are followed to launch your Windows Server? To launch your Windows Server, those are the steps we are followed. Already I am given step by step also. Step by step also. That is, we can select the EC2 mission, click on connect. Up to this, I have to explain. Launch the instances. Then we can select the EC2 mission, click on connect. We go to RDP client. RDP client. We have to note down the public DNS, and also we have to note down the username, the administrator. Mute your mic. Mute your mic. Students, mute your mic. Go to the select the EC2 mission and click on connect option. Go to the RDP client. Go to the RDP client. In the notepad, we have to note down the public DNS of the instance, and also we have to note down the username, that the administrator, and also we have to generate the password. We have to generate the password. So in your laptop, the remote desktop connection is there. We can open the remote desktop connection. We have to enter the public DNS. That's why I copied it in the notepad. And we have to enter the username and the password. Username and the password. Right. Then I'll check it. Yes. Yes. See that the Windows server is launched. Windows server is launched. Observe that. Observe that this is the Windows server. AWS Windows server I am launching. EC2, EC2, this is the DNS 13.127.211.126 AP South 1, AP South 1, the host name, instance ID, private IP address, public IP address. You have chosen the instance. Type is t2.micro. The availability zone, it is chosen to launch your Windows Server. AP South 1A is chosen. The total memory you have chosen t2.micro. It is providing 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM is providing. 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM is providing. That's why the total memory 1024, 1024, 1024. This is the Windows Server. This is the Windows Server. See that, see that in this PC, you can click on that. What is the storage is providing to launch your Windows Server in AWS? In AWS, default it is providing 30 GB, 30 GB. See here, 30 GB space is there. I'm not providing any additional volume of the data, any additional volume of the data, right? Those are the steps we have to follow to launch your Windows Server, to launch your Windows Server, right? To launch your Windows Server. I am not in my laptop. There is no remote desktop connection. There is no remote desktop connection. Don't worry. I can close this one. I can close this one. We can download the remote desktop file. We can download the remote desktop file. Where the remote desktop file is there? In EC2, we can choose the instant, click on connect, click on connect, go for RDP client, go for RDP client. Here we can download the remote desktop file. Remote desktop file. Remote desktop file is downloaded. That is, it's available in downloads option. We can click on this, click on connect. You have to enter the password. You have to enter the password. I noted this is the password. This is the password. We have to enter the password and paste it. Click on OK. Yes. Yes. See here. Windows Server is launched. Windows Server is launched. Those are the steps we have to follow to launch your Windows Server in AWS. Windows Server in AWS, right? To close that, we can click on this one. We can click on this one, and then in the instances, to stop the instance, to stop the Windows Server, to stop the Windows instance, we can select the instance, go for the instant state. We can choose the stop instance. Then only the start instance is enabled. Start instance is enabled. You can click on the stop instance, stop. The instance is stopped. Windows Server is stopped. On the next day, you are open your AWS account. Then we'll start the Windows Server, right? Choose the instant Windows Server, go for instance state, start instance is enabled. Start instant is enabled. Click on that. Continuously you are providing the operation. That's why it is showing like that red mark it is showing. Wait for a few minutes. Wait for a few minutes. Click on this instant date, start instance. It is also providing the red mark. Wait for a few minutes, right? The start is enabled. Start is enabled, right? In the beginning Linux server, it will be terminated. It will be terminated. It will be terminated. Fail to start the instant. Okay, wait, right? So in this session, we are discussed with how we are launching Windows Server using EC2 service, using the EC2 service. So in the fourth week of the lab, we had to launch the Linux server. We had to launch the Linux server and connect it using Putty, and connect the Linux server using the Putty software. Second one is you have to launch the Windows server. You have to launch the Windows server. These two experiments we have done it in the week 4. In the week 4. So what are the tasks for the week? Linux server launching and also Windows server. Windows Server using AWS. These two we have complete in the week 4. In the week 4. Okay. Move to this. Move to this. Refresh. Refresh. I am selecting the Windows Server. Go for the instance state. Start instant. See here. Successfully started. The instant state is pending. To run the status, it's taking 1 or 2 minutes on that data center in the Mumbai region data center. It is taking 1 or 2 minutes time. 1 or 2 minutes time. You are not installed in your laptop Windows Server operating system. Using the AWS, using EC2 service, you are launching Windows Server. You are launching Windows Server. That is to install the operating system. It's taking the time 40 minutes to 1 hour time is taking. You are observed in the laboratory to install the Ubuntu operating system, it's taking 20 to 30 minutes time is taking. To install Kali Linux operating system on top of the virtual box, it is taking the 30 minutes time. So here, how much time it's taking to launch the Linux server, to launch the Windows server, it's a matter of 2-3 minutes. Maximum is the 5 minutes time is taking. Based on your business requirement, you have to launch the server and we have to use the services. You have to use the services, right? Those are the advantage using the cloud environment. Cloud environment. So I no need this one, the Windows Server. I want to terminate this service. That is, we can select the instance type. We can select the instant, that is the Windows Server. Go for the instant state, and then we have to choose the option terminate the instant. We can click on terminate. We can click on terminate. The instant will be terminated. So in the EC2 dashboard, we have to observe that instant running is instances running is 0. Instances running is 0. How many instances are there? It's not deleted on the Mumbai region data center. It is taking the time, 1 or 2 hours time. After that, this instance will be terminated permanently. Key pairs. In this session, I am creating 2 key pairs. If you want that, you can click on that. These 2 key pairs I am creating. If you want to delete the key pair also, we can select this one. Go for actions, delete. You have to type this one, delete. Select delete option. If you want to delete the Windows Server key, we can select the key, go for actions, delete. You have to type it, delete, delete, right? Similarly, we can click on the EC2 dashboard. How many security groups are there? We can click on that. We can click on that. We can click on that. Here, this is the default one. Don't delete this one. We can Linux server SG. I am creating the security group. If you want to delete that security group, we can select the security group, go for actions, choose delete security group, click on delete option. Click on delete option. Now I want to delete the security group, Windows Server CSCSG. Select this one, go for actions. We can select delete security group. Click on delete. That security group is deleted. That security group is selected. Now we can click on the EC2 dashboard, refresh it, keep it at 0. Security group is 1, that's the default security. But those instances are terminated, it is taking the time. It is taking the time, right? Those are the steps we have to follow to launch your Linux server and also to launch your Windows server, right? So those are the steps we have to follow, and we have to launch it, the Linux server and the Windows server. So in the next session, that is from tomorrow session, how we have to transfer from local files, that is from your system to from your system to from your system to launched servers means Linux server and also Windows server. How files are transferred from your laptop to launched Linux server. How files are transformed from your system to Windows server. Windows server. That is in the next session we are discussed this concept. That is how files are transformed from your machine to from your laptop to Linux server, from your laptop to Windows server, For that, what are the steps we have to follow in the next session we are discussed. Okay. Any queries? Any queries? Raise your hands. Any queries? Raise your hands. Any queries? Raise your hands. No queries.